Hi,
Hi,
John.
good to
Nice
see
to
you.
see you. Nice to meet you. I've heard a lot of good things about you from your dad. He's an old friend, so
He seems to be our mutual connection because that's where I've heard most of the things about you as well.
yeah, definitely. He mentioned you just got back from Singapore and China. How was that?
It was really good. I got to go to a conference and to really meet with a lot of different people, and especially like with materials and stuff, going into construction and all that. So it was really insightful. Got to learn a lot
Yeah,
from that.
that's awesome. Sounds like a great opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. And that's kind of what made me interested in why we're meeting now. My whole business idea coming up with a plan.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I really look forward to talking to you more about this plan. It's something I'm definitely interested in, and I think you've got a really great eye for, this industry, and you're a very sharp kid.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Well, I'm curious, what is your interest in like this entrepreneur opportunity?
Right, right. So I'll answer that. The biggest thing for me is that you're interested in the newer technology side of the lighting and electric industry.
Yeah,
Um, that's something, as you know, I'm the CEO of my company where I feel like
yeah,
we're really lacking it. And so I'm always reading up on it and investing my time into it because I really think that's truly where the market is heading
gotcha,
and
gotcha.
what consumers are looking for sure.
Okay. I mean, you say you're in a CEO position. What makes you want to go from there to, a startup with me?
So I'm somewhat close to retirement,
Okay.
as you may have guessed. So aside from the fact of the new technology, because that's definitely a big reason, I'm not ready to retire. And with
Yeah.
my current company, I have the option to within the next year. And, you know, while it might sound nice not work, I still have energy, I still have drive, I still have motivation. I don't want to work a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And so I really am interested in this business opportunity because A, I believe in it, the new technology,
Yeah.
and B, I'm not ready to be done.
You
There's
still
so
want to
much
keep
more to
going.
give. Yeah, and I'm really interested in working with you as a partner. I think you have a lot of great things to offer.
That's great to hear. That's one of the biggest things with my plan is I wanted to go after the new technology. There's a
Mm-hmm.
great opening in the area, in the geographic area that we're in, to make such a great impact on the industry, to start this company, to make a lot of profits from it. So I was really just I want to take that idea and make it very successful.
Great.
And it's something where I want to try to find the right person to go into that with.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
I, you know, trying to figure this all out. I was talking to my dad a little bit, trying to get some details, and that's why he had suggested you to talk to, is because you have so many connections. How would those connections play a role in coming into business with me?
If I'm investing in a company, I'm going to invest wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
Clients, contacts, all of it, because I want it to succeed. I put my heart and soul into it.
yeah,
So, with that being said, I already have clients that have asked me about this type of technology
okay,
that we don't even offer on my current position.
yeah,
So, that's not something I want you to worry about because I can assure you, I could give you names like right now of people,
yeah,
of clients. The largest retailer in the uh, area, um, he was mentioning to me just the other day that he is looking for this type of material. So that's why I was really enthusiastic and excited to hear about your business idea.
gotcha.
Really.
Well, with that in mind, where do you think there'd be any conflict of interest with your current company? Is there any issues you might see running into that? Because that's something I think of, like, man, the CEO
Mm-hmm.
going to almost like a competitor. Is there any legal problems that might pop up with that?
Oh, absolutely. I see your concern for that. Really, what it comes down to is a non compete. So, as I previously mentioned, what what if we were to begin in business together, we would be selling while it's in the same industry. It's not direct competition. They're not even interested or touching on that new technology that you and I have discussed. I
Gotcha.
know that because I've brought that to their attention, and it's just being
Oh,
shut
okay.
down. So
It's not even on the table.
it's not
Gotcha.
really, so I could understand your concern with that for sure, but I want to do things the right way as well.
Okay. Yeah, you talk about doing things the right way. I mean, that's something, especially coming to Asia. There's a lot of different ways of doing business. How do you see yourself doing business with joining in with the company? Like, how would you find new people? Do you think? Because I mean, I'm going to be honest. There's some sketchy business that goes on around here,
Right.
and that's one of my concerns. If I'm going to go into partnership with somebody, I want to be able to trust them. I don't want to have to watch them or anything like that. I want to be able to
Absolutely.
figure things out.
But yeah, well, I mean, we're going to be a team. I'll have your back, you have mine. I totally get it.
Yeah.
So, it's the non-compete thing. I don't want to get too caught up on that because, like you mentioned, we're interested in the new technology.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to be very transparent about that if we do continue to do business together constantly, because that's something that we could run into later down the road,
Yeah.
with different clients, things like that. I want to make sure that we're always on the same page, and as far as ethics go.
Yeah, absolutely, and I appreciate that. I see you as an honest person. That's why I wanted to meet with you. So, but it's always good to get clarifying information,
Right.
especially coming from different cultures and stuff. It's hard to what makes sense in one country might not make sense in another country. It might not be
Absolutely.
okay in another
Oh, yeah.
country.
So, and with that being said, I have 15 years of experience in the industry,
Yeah.
and plus another 5 on top of that as a CEO. So not only do I have industry experience, I have managing experience, and
Yeah.
I've made it this far. And I could give you references. My clients,
Oh yeah, I
they've
trust. You.
referred to me as capable, responsible, hardworking, and I just really get good feedback from my clients. So,
Yeah,
and
that's
I
good to
know they'd be interested in this new technology. I know they would. They've mentioned it to me before. But I did want to ask you as well, what
Go ahead.
do you value?
For me, honestly, like ethics is number one on the list. I think it's black and white. You do good business, and that's kind of what I want to build it on. There's all these companies doing all these different things, but they kind of live in a gray area as far as ethics are concerned. And I don't want to have to deal with any of the legal problems that go along with that. We talked about the conflict of interest with your other company. I think that kind of covers the majority of any issues that might pop up. But it's that kind of mindset. Like, I just want to make sure that we can get this going and not have to have any worries in between, especially, as that pertains to there's a lot of, legal stuff, building codes, things that we have to make sure we're up to code with. And especially with, electronics and all this new technology, we've got to get it right. I want to make a good impression on everyone. I don't want to have enemies in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's always going to be competition, but it doesn't mean we have to hate each other. It doesn't mean we have to undercut each other and
Absolutely.
be dishonest,
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and I'm on the same page with you, for sure.
I mean, that's great to hear. I mean, it's one of the biggest things I wanted to do in this situation is, find someone I could trust, someone that I could learn from, but also someone who understands, like, this is an idea that I came up with,
Absolutely.
and I don't want to bulldoze them, but I also want
it's your baby,
a partnership. Yeah.
This is your thing. So, since you mentioned that, I had a question. You obviously have an opportunity to work with your dad. He's a successful businessman.
Absolutely.
That overlaps in this industry. I just wanted to ask you a little bit about why you aren't working with him or for him.
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, I want to do my own thing. I have nothing against him. I think he has great resources, and I hope to use some of those.
Yeah.
And I really like, what he's come to understand in the industry. And I want to apply a lot of that to, my own company.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't want to be under his shadow either.
Right.
I want to be able to do my own thing and call it mine.
Make it on your own.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. It's one thing if you have a business partner, but it's another thing if it's your dad.
Right.
And there's nothing bad with that, but there is also some pros to going off on your own and not being stuck in, the way he might do things.
Absolutely.
Which might be great, but maybe you want to do different
Yeah.
things. And that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I care about my dad, but I want to do business slightly different. And
Yeah.
I want to, kind of have my reins on it.
On your own terms.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Your dad is an excellent businessman, and there's lots to learn from him for sure. But
Yeah.
I really admire that you want to start your own deal.
Yeah, and I'm sure he'll be in and out helping this or that or whatever. But at the same time, he has his thing, I have my thing, or our thing,
Hmm.
and being able to do that is a good level of independence, especially because we'll be going in a slightly different market.
Absolutely.
He's in the construction business, but we'll be focusing more on the the lighting, electronics, that kind of thing.
Right.
And with your expertise and interest in going into those, the more modern setups and the new technology, is really incentivizing for me, because I want to find someone that has that drive. And
Absolutely.
even though you're close to retirement, you want to keep going, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
really something I want to follow is being able to keep going, just have
Hmm.
that drive and that determination.
Oh, definitely.
So what is you come we're meeting together to try to figure this out. What are you looking to get out of this situation? Obviously, you're thinking of retiring from your current company. Um, what are you looking to get out of it? What are you looking as part of like a deal per se?
Great question. Well, as I mentioned before, I am close to the retirement age, but I'm far from retirement.
Yeah, yeah,
I can't get enough of this. I want to continue on with this business. I've never really been about the 9 to 5 deal.
yeah.
I've always worked towards something greater. And being a CEO now, that definitely fulfills that need for me. And I think starting up this business with you will definitely,
Yeah.
fulfill those needs for me as well. And I I want to grow, this company because I truly, as I mentioned before, believe in that new technology. I've had clients that mention it to me. I mentioned it to some of my supervisors, but that truly interests me, and that's something that benefits me within this company. It's standing behind what I believe.
Gotcha. And as sorry to interrupt you. As we talked a little bit earlier, something I just really wanted to stress was the importance of me being, a major part of it.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you'd be a big benefactor in getting the company up and running, and I wouldn't want to discredit that at all. How do you see us working together as partners?
That's a great question. So I have no problem putting up costs to help get this started.
Gotcha.
I know what it takes. I have no problem doing the funding. It's 500,000 euros, as we have figured out. And I know in your position, you're recently out of your MBA.
Yeah.
Kudos to you, by the way. That's great, super great. So, I know that there's an expectation for me to put up that amount of money to get this off the ground and running.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely I don't have $500,000 myself, so that's definitely something that interests me as well, as you'd be able to contribute a lot to that.
Absolutely. So, with me putting up the money, what percentage-wise are you thinking? Where does that fit, percentage-wise as a value on your spectrum?
Great question. Honestly, I want to make it incentivizing for you. I also have to make it incentivizing for me to want to do that. With that being said, somewhere around 70-75% for you to start with, and for me getting 30-35% as well would be something I'd really want to consider. Obviously, you putting up most of the money, I want to give you a good percentage of that. Something I think about as well is, over time that could shift a little bit. And then, we start at that number, but maybe over time as you, regain the money that you've put into the company, we could even out that share a little bit to closer to like maybe 50-50 split. You're still in charge, I'm still in charge. We can work with somewhere around there. What do you think?
So with that, I like the 75-25 offer. I think I would like to have a little bit more equity, and I don't have a problem with lowering my equity as time goes on. Once I get my investment back, I have no problem with
it's the investment you're concerned with.
And I foresee this just taking off. I really do. I wouldn't invest in something that I didn't. So with that being said, what do you think about 90-10%?
That would be tough, and purely because it's something where I feel like I wouldn't have the control I'd like over the company. It's not, you'd have 90% out of it, 10%, especially as we talked about earlier, being my idea, my baby. It's something where I'd want a little bit more to start with. um, I'd be willing to try to figure out maybe if we lower the investment amount, and I could come up with something in between.
Meaning
Um,
what?
so maybe 400,000 for about 70%, and then I could get either a line of credit from my father to pay him back, and he wouldn't get any equity, but it would just be for me, so I could contribute. So it's more of a partnership in
So,
that.
so let me ask you this. So you mentioned previously that you're not wanting to live in your dad's shadow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
As great as he is, business-wise, I do have the full 500 to give.
Yeah.
So I don't want you to get too caught up on the equity.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? We don't have to. I personally don't love the idea of involving more people
Yeah.
while the business is so young.
Started off really simple.
Exactly. So I have the equity, and I'm willing to work with you. So essentially, to do things ethically, with the company I'm currently at, I have no problem to put you more at ease. Just to begin my transition, leaving this company
Yeah.
sooner to get our company off the ground and running,
Gotcha.
and to do it in an ethical way. I could do it technically with a loan until I am completely done.
Done with
at
the company,
this
yeah.
company,
So there's no
which-
conflict.
Absolutely, and so it's ethically, moral, and correct. And there's no competition
Yeah.
for my non-compete. So with that being said, I understand you don't like the 90-10, but if I did invest the full 500, if we did 80-20, and then say it takes 4 or 5 years for me to get my
Investment.
return on my investment,
Yep.
plus interest because it would be a loan,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
have no problem lowering my deal to what you think.
So where would you say you have no problem lowering it? Where would you like to see that in, let's say, 5 years from now?
So
As far as equity is
assuming we
concerned.
get my investment back plus
Plus the interest.
interest,
Yep.
which I don't foresee being a problem. Like I said, we've got network already set up, some clients are already kind of in the works.
Yeah.
Essentially, I don't think I would do anything lower than 51.49.
Okay. So you've had 51, I have 49%.
Absolutely. And
Okay.
I say that because I have been in this industry 20 years.
Yeah.
5 of those as a CEO, plus in another 5 years by then experience starting another company.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I do have a lot to offer, and that's not to discredit you in any way. So we'll be very close to 50-50 partners, but just that 51-49, we'll be able to make decisions together,
Yeah.
and I'll be able to provide my mentorship and expertise that I have to kind of make final decisions with including you
Gotcha.
in mind as well.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing I'm concerned about is having that as close as we can get to like equal control. I'd hate to have a partner I go into powerhouse over the whole thing and take control of
Right.
the thing I kind of came up with.
Yeah. Oh, it's a team. It's a team.
And I appreciate that mindset. I think I would be a lot more comfortable with starting with 80-20, but especially having the stipulation of each year we transition some of that equity from yourself to me as time goes on and as the debts are paid off. How does that sound to you?
Yeah, that sounds great, the 80-20. And then I will work on transferring to my other, from this
Job
company
to
to
here.
this.
Yeah,
So I wanted to run something by you as well.
absolutely.
I've got this great salesman. His name is Sam.
Mhm.
Sam, he's number one on my team. He always returns the highest margins.
Okay,
To be completely transparent with you, though, I don't agree with some of his business tactics.
gotcha. Like
He's-
how he gets his sales.
Yeah, so he's never created any problems with clients or with me
Okay,
or with the company. He's got great client feedback, honestly.
yeah,
So whatever you're comfortable with, but since he's not a CEO like I am, him transferring would be much quicker and smoother.
Okay.
And as you may know, businesses fail within 2 years. Most startup businesses do.
yeah,
And a lot can be said for that. And a lot of that is because they grow too fast. And I really do
Gotcha.
see this growing. So I think if we had a salesman on our team, And instead of giving him an equity percentage, because he doesn't have that at this current company,
Yeah.
but a good salary and, commission, because I do know he'll provide.
Okay. I mean, I guess my concern comes from, like, where do you see his business practices not adding up? Or do you see that something where he's so stuck in his way that he wouldn't be able to have a more ethical approach to things? Because that's my big concern.
So and I totally understand that. It's concerning. But to be completely honest with you, he's not a dishonest guy. He's an incredible salesman. Like I said, number one, highest margins on our team. I just don't love the way how he gets them. I can't even give you specifics, but,
Is he a little too personal or, like, less client,
put your mind a little more at ease, he's already wanting to leave. He's number one, but I think he's kind of outgrown this company, and he likes the idea of the more modern technology, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
I haven't mentioned the idea to him because I know he'd leave right away and he'd be interested.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, he stayed with me at our company because he's loyal to me.
Yeah.
So, like I said, he's not a dishonest guy. He's got crazy loyalty. So what I think we could do moving forward is training him, because I'm obviously over him. You're over him.
Yeah.
If we train him and work with him, I think it's obviously something that can be corrected.
I mean, I'm worried about the, maybe any ethical issues that might come up. I wouldn't want any of that to continue if he was to transition over. If we were able to figure out a way where we could assure, he kept up with the training we give him and does things the right way, I'd be open to hiring him and having him on. But I would not be open if he was not willing to change that mindset or the approach that he has.
Yeah. So I'll set up a meeting with you and him, and you can get a feel for him. And maybe, we don't have to quite yet mention that I'm thinking of stepping down. I'm not too worried about that with Sam because he has stayed so loyal to me for so long, and he's ready to leave himself.
Gotcha.
So
more of a hypothetical idea to him right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think he would have a lot of great ideas and things to bring to the table.
I think it'd be worth mentioning. We'll obviously have to figure out those finer details with him to see if it will actually work, especially ethically. But yeah, if you're willing to go 80-20 and then eventually go 51-49 as you get your investment paid off, I think I'd definitely be willing to make a deal. It's tough at the beginning for me to wrap my mind around it.
Yeah.
Because I want more, I want control of my company.
Yeah,
but obviously over time it would get there.
Yeah, I would advise you not to get caught up over the equity.
Yeah.
I foresee this taking off. We've already got clients in my network that I know would be interested, and within your father's, that he even mentioned to me that he'd be interested in helping out for sure. So I think with that being said, I'll get my investment returned soon enough.
Yeah.
And we'll be right there neck and neck as partners.
Awesome. Okay, great. I think,
Absolutely.
we made a deal.
Thank you.
Yep.